Sides to the match itself. Two sides, of course, trying to cement their legacy, their roots through different means. Era the blue, Nip looking for a major, maybe wild card itself, or even greedier, an invite to the championship itself. It is game one in the lower
Oh my.
semi-final, and it's just slightly too high.
Slightly too high, but already the previous champions of that Winter Invitational in NIP are looking to be on the back foot straight away as Era with a quick punch and a nice bit of interlinking play early on. Quite frankly, NIP are quite lucky they didn't concede early on.
Well, luck to some extent, but thankfully for their case, the job still on the table with a few seconds ticked by and this mere flesh wound. Well, Bems will be looking to do one of his own here. Unbroken is up here. There is in to his left. He wants to. That's fabulous. Cheeky and delicate at the same time.
Certainly was as he dove underneath those two players, just trying to force that double commit from Nip, which could spell an early chance. And speaking of an early chance, that one is just wayward from NIP as it slashes against the post.
These moments here, you just sense here, you just have to nick it away to. There might be a clip on our Twitter, of course, at the Rocket RB, or maybe one of our fabulous casters might suggestly put it on Reddit. I'll be surprised if it's not already. The goal line save in the last series, not to spoil too much, was fabulous. The woodwork playing involvement. Yeah! And there is Big Ian, 1-0.
1-0 to the underdogs in many people's eyes, as that is an unfortunate mistake on the backboard from Astromic. Maybe just let that one slip a bit, Danny.
Certainly so. Slip, surprise. Again, the played battle. We talked about the past result, and that's a slip up. That is a massive slip up in the context of this evening.
Definitely so. One goal. Well, there's no need to worry. There's no need to sweat. Two, and you can begin to worry because there is going to need an absolute mammoth transformation from Nip if they are to work their way back into this game.
Certainly so. The kickoff's the only thing that in this game that you can actually reproduce with some accuracy. That, of course, nipped down a bit surprising there. Of course, decent demo. They opened the door here. What we haven't actually seen here is a few shots being pelted at the same velocity compared to earlier. But at least, yeah, they're defending well for the time being.
Oh, don't you dare speak too soon, Danny, because this one might just work its way through. And we have seen a response from Nip relatively quickly as Motta struggled to put that one beneath Pan, but the 50 from Bems, strong enough, and Astro, well, the finish as well.
Was it too soon?
Be determined.
Oh, Era, for half a second, near enough got away with one. Big opportunities, of course, could be rattled right through here. Of course, will it be a song and a dance in the box itself here? It's been trapped, shut down, downfield ball, needs to be passed. Unfortunately, no bump to come through, and it's a quick dart downfield.
A quick dart downfield, and Pan was inches away from contact on that follow-through flip as he worked inside, but Era are just going to need to balance this ball in the corner without causing too much of a threat to their own back lines as Unbroken gathers this one with plenty of space on the field to control it past one as they work their way forwards.
Our opportunity, sideward ball, this could be fabulous, and that's wise. Nice decision, back away. You know, the opportunity of the pass wasn't going to be there, scuttled across here, and it could just be a sense here that NIP could fancy a pass into the middle, but no, everything just seems to be a half a second a little bit too slow here.
Yeah, but maybe a bit of spontaneity from Astro can do some damage against the defense, but Bems is up and so is Motta in support. That is an absolute rocket play from NIP as Unbroken struggled to get this one away to safety.
He just sat there at the defence here, and Pan just sits there with his arms held open and just said, please just hit me with it, please, I can't do anything about it. 2-2, simple as it gets. Era might have a lead, Well, unfortunately, there's no such thing as might. It's gone now.
Well, sustainability and control is the name of the game when you have that 2-goal cushion, but Era have already lost it in as quick of a time as they first initially gathered it, as this ball goes central. Maybe another chance for Nip as Pan takes to the skies. He's got plenty of support in numbers, one downfield and one just behind to try and sandwich a play forwards.
Just sort of sitting there remembering the slight brief chat here in between that Relic does say if this is going to be maybe the best regional in terms of quality. We are knocking maybe on that doorstep so far here, and it's already game across, a pass across, and a save across the box 3.
Great save there across, and NIP are actually going to be afforded a chance downfield as well, but Pan has unleashed his presence to throw this one into the corner, and Era are just going to let this play simmer down a little, maybe a bit too much as Nip come forwards with some vigour, with some threat, but sadly the attack diminishes.
Slow, demoed, removed, and it's a downwards ball here, blocked by NI at one point here, follow through, and Bams just sits there, waits, and at least the angle's been cut shallow, so it's tight in the corner, so not necessarily a free exit by both players or teams. And Joe Watts here, it took a while for an OT, might not be waiting long here.
Yeah, and that ball's going to drop down. A sensible decision from that third man on Era then not to keep that ball alive, but now we're in a very pivotal stage of this series overall. Momentum, of course, being such a massive factor, and when we've seen these two teams play against each other before, looking earlier into the quarterfinals, of course it was Era who took this in a sweep against NIP, but the matchup beforehand went completely the other way, and I think that's proving how crucial this game could be.
There's a little side play here, unfortunately, but might be a crucial here that it is still, of course, the nastiness of the game itself here being shown. There was a few 50s in between, thrown into the corner. Ian was lobbing that one high up. There's no necessarily team play coming out here. It's very much skittish in terms of approach here, but can you blame them? It's such a crucial moment, pivotal as it gets so far.
Definitely so, and it seems as if both teams, like you mentioned, Danny, just trying to play strengths in numbers at the moment. They're just trying to play supportively, play safe, play controlling, and NIP are going to do exactly that as they come out of defence from this back corner as one ball's worked underneath that second man. NIP may be afforded some freedom here.
Oh, pass one. You want freedom? Maybe I didn't feel pass. Unfortunately, the freedom found no exit there as Motta. Well, found an exit. The problem is he got sent home packing.
And home packing, and on the other side of the field, Unbroken looking to create a chance of his own. Motta now downfield, can't lunge for the dunk he once so desired, as downfield he's trying to cause a bit of havoc, a bit of disruption to this Era defense, but now just approaching 2 minutes into OT, we're not seeing much of that vigor from both sides. It's all about solidity at this early stage.
There, a double commit here. Solidity might just be out of the window already, thrown up into this or end of Nip's own half here. Demo here. Is there somebody alert? Is there somebody alert? Anybody? Hello? Big ball, wide open net, and somebody just sat there and thought, do I want to have a go at it?
Well, the answer quite simply was no, as both teams, you can see how important this stage of the game is. And Motta realises the importance of this particular commit as he buries it in the bottom right. Beautiful work there.
Oh, it was fabulous to see, and we were just wondering when these opportunities was going to occur here. Ninja in Pyjamas, they made us wait there at the end to see that crucial goal slip on through. But my word, what a series we are starting. I feel like there's still a bit of warming up to do here.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And as this series progresses, of course, there's going to be teachings and learnings from each side that they can sort of build upon. But in terms of a real trend in this game one, it really was just trying to huddle up and work as a unit, try and work around each other. We didn't necessarily see the flashes of individual brilliance, for example, that you would come to expect from an NIP roster. Just looking at the names themselves, Astromic, Bems, the likes of these highlight caliber players, almost quiet in game one, Danny.
Very much so. I think it'd also be fair to say, Seiko, that it is a new roster somewhat. There is that approach that you need a bit of time. And let's not forget here that in winter they were nowhere to be found really on this channel. They were knocked out really before it got to the major points before that conversation. And they've just allowed it to slip further here. Tonight really is just how many points can you gather? There is that big question. And so far, are we seeing this good side being good? That's up to you.
Yeah, I certainly think both of these teams, even in game one, showed us that brilliance that they are capable of as we do enter the second game of the series. Which one of these sides is going to actually enter the forefront of this match? Because the previous one, a little bit of a slow burner, but Era got to grips with things quickly. And NIP requiring a response did exactly that. Unbroken over to the backboard now, trying to get something done early. Can't quite manage that time around.
Nice little skip downfield. What we've been talking about, what they haven't been capable of doing, there has been at least a flurry of goals been so far here. Catches, and that just should have been sliced before even the court itself hit it on the volley. Give yourself a wider angle, but the problem was, how close were you to the defender?
Definitely so, and Unbroken in the corner with an early commit just to keep Bems fully on his guard. Not willing to let anything slip there, and you can see that that touch might be a little awkward for Pan as the ball works in field. What on earth is that save from a combination of those two players? I'm not sure we'll ever know.
Some region must have taken a history lesson of the Irish Rocket League scene there. That was what we refer to as a dirty scramble. A full-fashioned mud pit where you can't even see your knees anymore, but there's still the scrapes and bruises to prove it as well. But downfield ball and maybe a Hail Mary attempt as well. But while Psycho there, who has seen me play, who has also been on the brutal end of the commentary with me on, sitting there laughing his head off, he knows exactly what that is.
I certainly do, but we're going to move swiftly forwards now as our Era into this aggressive corner. And oh my goodness, you have to feel bad for the attack after a play like that. Era just holding on through sheer grit alone. What can you do?
No, the grit's in the knees. That's the old grovel pits that you used to have to play. You have to favour the defender more. Obviously, two different play styles here in the commentary booth, matching with this equilibrium on the pitch. Fabulous so far after near enough 3 minutes.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful little piece of intertwined connections from Era as downfield there was a pre-jump from Pan off of the back of his teammates, lunging ball to their own backboard. You can see there is trust. You can see there is confidence now as Ian Pinheiro does have support behind. Pan fills in the gap just as required, and a missing piece to the puzzle certainly found there.
Oh, that was fabulous. Unfortunate with the one sole defender. Era, they've got the lead. What was from defensive capabilities that you just sat there and go, oh, come on. It's not going to be one of those nights of scoring a goal like that. It could, of course, get even better here with the kickoff following through. When, do you know what, when Era gets that goal in front, they are dangerous to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And that bump as well caused an extra threat, which could have paved an opening for potentially a second goal. But Motta is quick to this touch. Maybe a follow through from Bems. As this ball just rolls into the corner now. Both teams really a massive shift in pace from game one, it has to be said.
Certainly so. It's been fabulous. Spicy, that change of pace here, and that's a sack ball here. It should have been played across here. A bit too greedy, and a demo's opened up on the other side.
Oh, not so sheepishly, Pan is going to challenge relatively quickly there in front of the NIP attacker, as once again a loose ball in the corner for Ian Pinheiro to scoop up. He's done well to dart underneath one player as this ball comes central back to Ian Pinheiro. The ball backwards to a teammate. The supportive play certainly still in full force.
There's the The infield pass, and unfortunately no support there. A girter would have been useful, but unfortunately not to be in that case here. 70 odd seconds ticking on by here, and the Ninjas are slowly unraveling themselves from the intertwine that Era has put them under. Good demo, good double. Maybe a little bit less than good, but it's still on target to put the pressure on.
Yeah, and the pressure still in NIP's control as the boost reserves still looking a little bit bleak for Era, but nonetheless, they have found an escape route forwards as Bems off the ceiling, well controlled, plenty of touches to bring the ball all the way forwards to the opposition back third as Ian Pinheiro straight up unbroken with a chance. It's awkward for Motta, it's going back to his own goal. Almost 1-1 and almost didn't even involve a player in blue.
I think you might have misspoken, it would have been 2-0. Era, let's not forget here what they've got away with earlier. Could have doubled their lead here. Ninjas once more leaving a wide open net. There is a third player trailing on by, Motta being the player in question. Of course, Bems, good pickup, 100 boost here. We've seen some fabulous plays from this deep line position. Era, on the other hand, not allowing the fantasy to live.
Oh, that's rude. That's a rude way to end the game, don't you think? When the player just thinks he has a glimpse of a touch on an NIP side like that, just wiped away as easily as that. And what's so crucial about this game is Era have reinstilled that confidence so that when they do establish that lead, they can go on to be the dominating force, Danny.
Well, you're talking about being rude. I think it's absolutely fabulous that way, but as the replay scrolls on by here on every possible play that we have seen here, I can't put it into words so far. Sam always brings that little something special, and we've seen it tonight already. 7 games, Seiko, or is this just going to flutter out here? I hope not.
I hope it doesn't flutter out, Danny. I really don't. But just seeing that transformation already from Game 1 to Game 2, the likes of the changes in playstyles we saw, the likes of the disruption we saw added, and the aggression of early challenges, early commits, brave play from both sides has really put some confidence in me that this could go the distance, because that really paves the way for some sporadic play, some unexpected moments, and we saw a lot of that in Game 2.
Well, certainly so. We're going to be seeing a lot more in Game 3 within the set, of course. It's going to be fabulous. But let's not forget here, Ninjas were a bit slow and sluggish. They had one opportunity and it was denied in some fabulous fashion here. And they've got to do a bit of fancy footwork just to hold on to possession here.
Oh, and with absolutely no boost, NIP wiped away from the face of the earth there as Pan tries to dive underneath one. A little bit ambitious as Unbroken tries to push his way forwards now. And, well, NIP, you talked about how it was just a little bit lackluster early on. Maybe working together as a unit is at the top of the list of priorities. Hold on a minute, Pan. He's just emerged from thin air. He's emerged from what can only be described as a dirty scramble like you previously mentioned, Danny. And that is one goal the direction of Era.
I think simply describe the flying Pan. Fabulous in terms of what it moves across.
The flying Pan. That's a statement. That is a statement. As he easily worked his way through the skies, he fried the opposition as well. And now at the back, NIP having to endure another one of those awkward situations as starting forwards is Motta to try and do something of damage towards the back third. None to be had there.
Certainly. There'll be a few sizzling and crackles going on right now, but some are trying to hold on to it. It is, of course, the Ninjas right now, but will it be breakfast in bed here because they're being put to bed here by Era? They're defending well here. This shouldn't be a surprise. The counter as Pan leaves that one. No, he wants it. He's just going to sit there and take unfortunately, the sloppy seconds.
Unfortunately so, but Pan's coming forwards and he's dropped this ball low. It's easy to deal with for Bems on that occasion, but the mere presence alone was that of threat as Ian now working his way forwards. He's gone past one, lunging for the bump, the connection made. Surely the follow-up's going to come through, but it's unfortunately not the case as NIP back on the counter.
Counter? What counter? The defence is doing well to delay and maybe send a counter to the counter already, and Nip just decides to nip it in the bud. Fabulous already, pops it over one. Ian versus now the last sole defender here. Sonic's unwell here. Flip reset after flip reset. The problem is he's lost momentum.
Certainly so, and no boost. Momentum lost for Pan in the corner as Bems already downfield, infield ball towards Motta. But it has gone undetected, unregistered by the NIP attacking presence as Astro. Surely this ball's going to come to another teammate in orange across. Motta patiently waiting. You can see these teams still trying to connect with one another. These passing plays of which have longed and been desired for so far, still not really rearing their heads.
Was a lunge on at least the keeper earlier. Nip saw it and took advantage because there was only two in the back lines, forced it downfield to a redirect cut short here. NIP with Bems now up in tier, tries to go low. Ian was watching on broken commit earlier. The two sets wait patiently. Bems the back in middle, blocked it goes. It is just a mini siege here being blocked on, and look at the boost counter. Both sides drained to the mere single digits there.
Certainly did, but Era just immediately recovering off of what was a dire situation, proving that NIP individual efforts are simply not going to be enough. They need to work together on these attacks. Era looking to be as solid as a rock as we near approach this final minute of play. What do NIP have left to offer?
Question. What do they have? And unfortunately the answer is being a slight nuisance on the backboard of their opposition. They find themselves on their own here. Vital little Svitty here. That's a wide open net, and that's a wide open corner to put the ball into.
And the chance has gone begging as Unbroken trying to make a follow-up opportunity as maybe this ball can be poked home from Ian Pinheiro, but the ball is thrown on wide by that final defender. 45 seconds, give or take, left on the clock, and Era still the dominating presence here in Game 3.
Hook, broad, or even back, whatever way you want to send it with force, is going to be hard to be found. And that one with a wind splinter went off the post with the keeper's assistance there. 20 seconds. Era looking, searching, prowling, but there is an opposition here, and another bit of woodwork separating the two.
What a crucial read, but it's not over yet, as surely Era going to have to endure at least one more attack as Ian, comfortable, rooted deep in his own back third, knows exactly what to do in that situation to keep the game in their favour. And Pan making it two games on the board for Era as we progress forwards.
Get the dustpan and brush out that one. Fabulous onto that. Sent it home, and NIP might be finding themselves with a question or two, and personally, at least one in my head here, they might want to call a timeout here.
Yeah, definitely so. If there is a time and a place to do it, I definitely think now might be a smart idea, because if you let Era have that breathing room of potentially taking a third game before calling that timeout, well, that leaves very low room for error. Just a single game can slip more often than not in this esport, just as a result of misfortune. Sometimes that is just the nature of the game. Surely a timeout's going to be called now.
Well, I can certainly confirm that the timeout has been called, and no surprises either. By, of course, it was Ninja in Pajamas who is requesting such a breather to the series here. And I think it would be fair to say this has been a fabulous series. It has been close, but not as close as it could be. And by that, Era has played so fabulous well defensively, haven't relied quite a lot on their offense, but they're still getting the job done. Ninjas need chance after chance, and sometimes they aren't making the right decision.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has been in part due to just a little bit of brash decision making. It seems as if NIP are trying to get the job done very quickly when it comes to their attacks downfield. It's all been a question of individual efforts. Who can be that spark to light the flame for the roster? But maybe just slowing things down a bit on attack is what's required, because at the moment, these gaps are not being found. The 50s, the trades, they're all seemingly going in favour of such a well-structured error side at the moment, and really disrupting that maybe is a good path forwards.
Well, certainly so. And maybe that might be the way they decide to play the next couple of games, maybe just even the individual fourth game that's coming up. But Psycho, my words, does it go Nip's favour? Because if it is the timeout, the advantage buff should go their way. But again, it hasn't always gone it so far.
Yeah, definitely not, but statistically taking this time out is the best way forwards. If you are to progress forwards in a series of which you are trailing, that is the best call to make. But will it pay dividends as we enter Game 4? It's a beautiful stadium here as Pan in the corner is just going to follow this one through, courtesy of Unbroken. And oh my goodness, Ian Pinheiro, that is not an angle to be messing around with, and he certainly hasn't as he slots this one away.
I just love just watching somebody having the audacity to go for an angle like that. Half of the woodworker under generally will reflect in, and Era has certainly made the instant known, and that one could be so much more. Lovely leave of the pole as well to Era. They have grown within confidence to the point here where Ninja, the former top dogs of the region, is crumbling at the Utopia Coliseum itself.
Bang! That is a finish to be proud of from Ian. And as much as I thought that first finish of his, tucked inside that inside post, was something special, that top bins finish is really going to strike a bit of fear inside the hearts of this NIP side.
I fear for our social media manager right now, deciding which goals you go for, 1 or 2. Let you decide at home, as Ninja will only have one opportunity, and unfortunately they've lost it, and that could have been 3.
It certainly could have been an Unbroken. Well, he's feeding his way into the play now with a second touch against the corner. He does have support, which has maybe overextended a tiny morsel in that situation, but nonetheless, you can see just how supportive this Era side is yet again as that shot strikes the right-hand side of the target, but saved away, crucially there.
Another player up, straight down, and it will be Mother facing, of course, Pan. Another player facing Pan, unfortunately. Pan is unfortunately top of the world right now, getting through everybody as quickly as he can. As Ian sees a demo, but unfortunately not the angle. It kissed the woodwork. Unfortunately, there is no happy recipient on the other end of it.
Certainly not, but Motta might be the happy reciprocate of the gorgeous little play with that flip reset across to that final player, but the disruption, the bump that came through, made absolutely no contact, crucially, as Ian Pinheiro working forwards, and Motta's actually aided his cause there as a ball boomed downfield towards Pan, back upfield, and maybe Era could have done with someone just a little bit deeper inside the other half to get their grips on that one.
No boost here. The idea of getting a grip onto this one is just simply slow it down, delay it. The pinch, however, has slightly changed the approach to the play style, of course, here. Half-time, with a bit of change. Still, of course, to leave it for Era here, and they are just getting a little too fancy for their own good doing here.
Certainly so, and NIP are looking to slow the play down just that extra bit at the moment as they're now playing for these 50-50s. They're trying to do their best to just win these individual battles, as Era somehow have managed to escape a very dangerous situation.
There's Ian, nice strong 50. No boost here, and his efforts will just move aside here as Ninja looking to move through the wall that has been Era so far here. Fabulously struck right at the keeper, though.
Right at the keeper, but he had to pre-jump up to get a touch on that in the first place. It just seemed as if Ian Pinheiro had the opposition's number as Pan downfield, not quite flying that time around, close to the floor, almost poked home a third as Unbroken now settling in the corner. A strong 50-50, as is the name of the game at the moment for Error. So controlled, so smart, and honestly, they look unstoppable at the moment.
Just said that.
Maybe a bit too
somebody's
soon.
feeling. Oh yes, I saw the angle, I saw the car, and it could have easily spelt disaster here. Psycho, with a lot of confidence, maybe over. So, Era, guilty likewise there. They're allowing here Nip to march their way downfield, but a demo will at least prove the confidence is rightly placed, though.
Yeah, not just one demo, but also a lunging bump from Pan as well, just for that extra added heat to the battle emerging as these seconds tick down. Now at the moment, Nip forced into an early challenge. They need to craft an attack. They're going to be throwing absolutely everything into the play as this ball could be worked in field. A 50-50 tries to do exactly that, desperately so, but still no connection found.
30 seconds. They're going to be packing a lot here in this sort of next moment. That's there was an idea at least here, but unfortunately, you asked for a heat that hasn't been found. Maybe there might be more in Relic's takeaway later on this evening here. The only thing we can, however, is deliver the news. Era 2-0 in Game 4, but more importantly, match point for them to move further into this bracket tonight.
Oh my goodness, Era. I have not expected the sort of performance that I have seen from you so far, and I'm sure so many people viewing at home are going to be thinking, what even is this roster? Where have they come from? Ninjas in Pajamas, one of the Titans. Why aren't they showing their presence in a match like this?
Well, it's a very much a good question. Why weren't they not showing it? And there's also a good question on, will they decide to enter the stage itself here? Era, let's put the spotlight on them. They have played well to this point here where we're questioning the credentials of such a hot team itself. Well, hot has certainly dialed its way down.
Yeah, definitely. And it's astonishing to see that Era have been comfortable in implementing this playstyle where they're just trying to absorb as much pressure as possible and trying to maybe attack back on the counter with safety in numbers, working supportively in a region which traditionally has flourished more so off of sporadic attacks, aggression, and just mechanical plays, which have really just paved the light for teams like Crew that we saw today against a Team Secret roster, which of course have flourished off something similar to Error, it must be said. A bit more of a defensive approach, but still, they have the disruption. They have those sort of bump plays coming through. So far as I'm concerned, the only thing aiding Error's cause at the moment is just that solidity. It seems unstoppable at the moment.
Unstoppable. Ninja in Pajamas will have 3 games to find an answer, and by that, they've got to win the next 3. The problem gets even worse. I may have forgotten something here, but conceding 1 doesn't add up in this equation.
It certainly doesn't, and now we have a dire situation for NIP. That is going to be a blow to confidence in what could potentially be the final match of this here series as Unbroken tries to work forwards, and now this ball settled in the corner. You can still see Error leaving nothing behind with that early challenge.
Well, you just saw an idea of an infield pass, but unfortunately 2 players locked up. Ninjas have left themselves here with such a task to even get something going. If you're going in a situation like that, not conceding is the biggest help. Now they've got to find 2 goals, and unfortunately Pan is just moving around too freely. Block that will eventually at the midfield line.
Definitely so. An Astro with a cheeky little musty flick still can't best more than 1 blue player. Unfortunately for Error, there's actually 3 at the back at all times, seemingly all the time as this ball downfield. And Bems, well, he overstepped his lines just a tiny bit there, but still just about got home in time.
Well, Pan straight up. You fancy him getting at least a redirect off that. Unfortunately, a whisker away. Bems, he's going up. And again, another defensive block! And that's a tight angle. Do you want to squeeze that one any further? It will hurt, but it won't go in.
It's good positional awareness there from Bems to just sit in the middle and be ready and prepared for that attack against the corner. At the moment, it's not just going to be defensive efforts required for NIP. They're going to need to transition something downfield. Maybe a loose touch from Ian Pinheiro is going to give them that chance. Who am I kidding, Danny? He is not messing around, and Unbroken may be here to squeeze home a second as a bump is found on the near side post. You thought maybe there was room for a Doomsy Dish shot attempt, but no. He's smarter than that. He's bumped 2 in 1.
The say is just, you know what, let's get the job done here. We're done toying, we're done playing. We just want to move on here. Ninja has 0 resistance against what the Era offense has put on in this 5th game so far. And my words, what a statement they're being put across here. And let's not forget as well, they've got to do the lower bracket run here, Era. And so far here, they've answered every question that's been put in front of them.
Absolutely astonishing scenes at the moment for Error as a third comes home from Ian Pinheiro. And there might have been a little bit of glee and joy in finding 2 goals at such an early stage, but make that 3, and we've not even approached half-time.
I think the Ninjas might be getting a stern talking to whoever is their coach or master of the arena. They have got one back, but have they got their pride picked up from the floor? They've got to feign 2 more in this game 5.
2 more required, and thankfully the kickoff gods very much favouring NIP with that last attempt. Maybe a second one to come through here as Astro takes this one high. He's got an infield option in Motta, just casually waiting behind, just trying to time their lunge as Bems does. Best one blue player, Pan, up quickly to deal with it and straight back down the other end.
Motta is upfield there, but he will be backing away here. He has picked up what seems to be the left side 100 boost, and it was exactly that infield pass. There is a demo here. Catch it. There is a passing lane. There is an option there, but once again, they go solo. They get the same response, and it's sent away from the net.
Shut away time and time again, but maybe a shooting chance for Astro, but the speed and pace by which this Error defense can gather themselves together at crucial moments like that is still ever present. But Unbroken is going to have a chance, courtesy of an awkward double whiff there on the back line from NIP. It looks dangerous here for them.
Motta's just fired it right at the line where the keeper was just shadowing here. That's an accidental touch here. Ninjas, they have not made themselves any favours so far here. Motta with another little bump. It's just getting a little bit too much. It's far too much. It's all over.
We'll talk about being submerged in hot water. NIP burned by this infield 50-50. Ian Pinheiro, the recipient of that flourishing ball infield. 1 minute 18 left on the clock and 3 goals for NIP. Is it even possible at this point?
No.
Bluntly put, and honestly, I have to agree with you so far. It could be 5, it could be 6. Error just rising from strength to strength as still downfield they find themselves. Pan already with an early challenge and support behind to lunge the ball back downfield. Everything working out as a double touch finds its way through. This game surely done now.
Has been for some time. We've seen what Ninja had at least. Were they a black belt? Maybe. Unfortunately, they put a white flag up. They have surrendered against Era. Maybe a new time has begun within the South region, at least for spring so far here. Big questions have got to be asked though for their World Championship contending title. They have let the ball drop effectively here for that run. Mind you, Era, incredible, fabulous. Will it continue, of course, tonight? 4-1. both in the game, both in the series. This has been incredible by them.
It's been absolutely incredible and a fascinating return to form for this Error side. Previously, the club in the last split, of course, they have just risen from strength to strength, showing what really time does to a side. This squad has been together for quite some of that now, and taking a 4-1 against such formidable opposition. They found that sweep in the quarterfinals against NIP. That was proving of their capabilities, but to also rise to the occasion when the pressure is quite this high here in the lower bracket and getting the job done in similar fashion, full credit to them.
Certainly so, and it will be a massive question that will be running through here. Era, they've left themselves with a lot to do in terms of standing here, and it might just be a spoiler for the season itself here. What will be next, we don't quite know from them, but we will know at least one question. They are up next because they are in that lower bracket, but how well will they do? Well, that's a good question to be asking here.
It's a massively important question, and I think the thing that I'm going to struggle with realizing is that Error could be this new face of the SAM region currently. If we look back to that previous season, of course, or split rather, it was W7M and Exceed, the likes of these rosters, which were consistently making those sorts of top 4 runs. And now Error finally have found themselves in a similar position early on in this here split. And it's all riding on this next performance, I think, to show whether or not they can extend that sort of level of quality across time. Team Secret, they are the ones to beat here.
Might be the next ones the beat here, but Team Secret, they will be facing what can only be described as a team in waiting. They are hungry to prove. They won't be long, of course. Secret versus Air coming up after this break.